You guys, it is so early. It is earlier than I've ever made a video. But here I am. Like every building in school is locked, and I was going to go into my classroom to make this, but I'm not going to do that. So, because it's locked, so I can't. So, before I get on a bus to Boston with your sixth grade and eighth grade friends, I'm going to make you a quick video about some stuff that's going to be on the rubric and some stuff you should do today, and also about creating a title for your story, which is due tomorrow by midnight. So what that means is by 12 o'clock after the day of school tomorrow. So if you're in class 7-1, I think I don't have you today, but I have you tomorrow. So you'll watch this video and you'll get that work done. And if you're in class 7-2, you do have a little more time, but you had less time last week. So that seems to even out. All right. So here's the first thing I want you to think about. Is titles. So your story needs a title. It's not just fiction draft. And in order to get that title going, you're going to want to think about a couple of things. Okay. So the first thing you're going to want to think about is your character and conflict. Okay. So think about hang on, let's wait while this spinning wheel spins for a long time. Character. You can think about your conflict. You can think about symbolism. Short stories often have short titles. You don't usually see a short story with a name as long as Drums, Girls, and Dangerous Pie, because that kind of summarizes a lot of different things, and short stories don't have a lot of different things going on in them. So short stories are kind of often just the character's name and a word that hints at the problem. So, for example, my main character's name is Claudia. So I could title, whoops, that's not how you spell possible. I could title it the conflict is really about her choice, right? So I could make it Claudia's choice, where she has to choose whether to stay in safety or go after her family. I could title it Claudia's Claudia's Fire, because she's kind of got this like courage to go and find her family, even though she could stay safe and not possibly die, which she does. Fire is another word for like courage or having determination. So that seems like it's a good one. You could just simply summarize what happens. So I'm thinking about Gio's story right now, which is about soldiers trying to save one brother in Vietnam after all of the brothers have already been killed. And it's the battle, he could call it something like the battle for brotherhood. Okay, because these soldiers come together as friends and help each other while they're trying to save this last remaining brother, so his mother has at least one son alive. I'm thinking about the September 11th stories. Like they all take place in the morning. Maybe you could call yours something like 9/11 on 9/11. Thinking about Amina's story, which is really very much about an untold perspective on 9/11, which is that of a Muslim student or an Arabic student, Arabic speaking student, who is from Middle Eastern background. And people were very racist and prejudiced against Middle Eastern people after September 11th in America, because it was people from Saudi Arabia that had hijacked the planes. So she could call her something like the reverse of 9/11. I'm thinking about, Sophia Russi's story, which is about divorce. So, and it's about families being separated. She could just call her something like separation. Lexi's story, she could call her something like the tornado. You could just use the conflict as the title. John Michael's is about, brotherhood and sisterhood, but it's also about civil war and trying to help your community, and making clean water and wind power. He could call it, this is cheesy, John Michael, I know you might not want to use it, or maybe you'll love it. He could call his something like the power my sister left. That's like a double play on words, because she helps him get this part to create this machine for power. You know, like Chloe's is this like very, very long, detailed version of what happens over the day of Hurricane Katrina. The day of the hurricane really sums up what hers is about. You could ask a question. Anais's is about a girl trying to figure out if her brother is actually in a gang. That's really interesting, right? Some of you might already have titles, and that's fine too. Okay. So the thing that you are thinking about today is a title for your story. When you have a title for your story, you can do a couple of things. One, you can go ahead, and if you want to, you can knock out this picture that you had here of your character, or you could keep it. You could make it a title page. Okay. Or you could move it down on the page a little bit, and like scooch it down a little somehow. I can't do it in Screencastify, but you could always move it down like this and then put the title above it. All right. Obviously, your name is already there. So what I would do is I would center the title, because that always, usually, almost always, titles are centered on the page. I would make it bigger. And you don't have to put it in italics if it's the center of your book. I think I'm going to go with Claudia's Fire. Okay. So, and then your story has a title page. Okay. Then you want to bump the text down to the next page and make the picture take up the whole first page. Whoops. Didn't do it quite what I wanted. Let's see if it does it. Whoops. No, it made it way too big. So let me go back if I can. I think sometimes it'll let you do it. Nope. All right. Hang on. Let me make it a little smaller so that it doesn't take up the entire thing. Here we go. All right. And then you just adjust your text so it doesn't, go weird on you. So it doesn't start in the middle. All right. And then what you have is this really cool looking title page. And then your story starts where it should. Marvelous. Next thing I want you to do. Okay. So after your title, okay, I'm going to put that up here. Title and cover page. Also, you don't have to have a picture. It's just, kind of nice. Books have pictures on the cover or some sort of art. And the next thing I want you to do is I want you to pay attention to the format. All right. So that's indenting from the margin on the left evenly. So that means you shouldn't have it it shouldn't look like this, like all bumpy all over the place. It shouldn't look like this with one line over here and this line over here. It shouldn't look like that. Okay. It should look even. So what I mean by that is you should have tabbed evenly all the way across. Okay. I'm going to undo that because it's giving me the heebie-jeebies even just looking at it. All right. Great. Indent evenly. Okay. The next thing that I want you to do is go ahead and put the final story through Microsoft Office Editor. If you have a subscription to Grammarly, you might want to use that. And pay attention to every suggestion. Even if you don't know the grammar rule yet, like it's too advanced, go ahead and take a look. Go to the column for conciseness. That is the one that is going to help you out with your fluency. All right. It's the one that's going to tell you how sentences sound. So I would pay attention to all of those as well. Weirdly, when I put mine through conciseness, and I looked at that box, it had 14 suggestions for me. And I was like, oh my God, it's not going to tell me anything. I don't know. I'm an English teacher. And then it actually had some really good ideas. Okay. So do that one. And then finally, here are things that are going to be on the rubric. Okay. That are specific to this genre. Detail variety. Don't tell me the character said it. Use dialogue and inner thinking. Okay. Paragraph separation. Making sure that you are using proper paragraphs to shift and change paragraph for focus and dialogue. Okay, so whenever a camera angle would switch, change the paragraph and indent. Whenever a different person takes their turn speaking, start a new paragraph and indent. Remember, if they have an action after or before they speak, I'm scratching my foot. That can go in the same paragraph. Okay. The next thing that I want you to be aware that is going on this is that you have that you have a clear conflict that has real details that you have researched. Okay, it's authentic. Your details are correct. So if you're not sure, you're like, oh, I don't know if this is the time the building collapsed, the North Tower. Please look it up and make sure. I don't know what side the iceberg hit the Titanic. Look it up and make sure. I don't know what the capital of Kenya is. Look it up and make sure. Okay. The next thing that you're going to have on the rubric. Sorry, let me just put rubric here. Whoop, rubric. Okay. The next thing that is going to be on the rubric is dialogue punctuation, my friends. So making sure that, making sure that the quote marks, punctuation, and the capitalization. Remember, if there's a dialogue tag after it, you don't, after the quote, you don't capitalize it unless it's a proper noun. Okay. If it's a pronoun like she or my mom or he or they, it doesn't get a capital. If it's in a dialogue tag, unless it's the start of a new sentence. Okay. Remember the lesson from yesterday? YouTube also has some really good tutorials on this. And also your independent reading book. Open it up. Take a look at the dialogue. That is a really, really quick way to help you. Okay. And finally, you have edited and proofread. Okay. So even after you're done, like you're like, I'm done, I'm about to send it, just take another quick scan through. And finally, I am so proud of you. Doing these stories is really, really difficult. And this is, for some of you, the longest and most pride and work you've ever put into a story. You have become such incredible writers this year. We're moving on to a really, really kick butt poetry unit when we come back from break, along with our book Starfish, and you are going to love it. I'm working on it on the bus today. And there's something in it for every single one of you individually. I will miss you so much while I am gone, and I am so excited to go to Frost Valley with you. Mwah. If I don't see you over break, I know I'll probably run into some of you or see some of you. Have an amazing, amazing time, and I can't wait to see you when we get back. I love you.